Hey y'all, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Mel and I'm so glad you clicked on my video. So I don't know about where y'all are today, but it is gray and a little drizzly and pretty cold, or cold for New Orleans anyway, cold here today. So I am kind of hunkered down at home and thought I would take some time to go through my makeup collection. I've been thinking about this a little bit with it being the end of 2017, 2018 is just days away, and kind of thinking about, what I want to do with my makeup this year. I know that may sound silly, but, I've started a couple project pans recently. Just been kind of like thinking about like what I own, what's in my collection, what do I want to do with things this year, are there things that need to be decluttered, are there things, additional items that I want to pan, are there holes in my collection, are there things that I see myself bringing into my collection this year. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of go like category by category through my collection and just kind of do sort of like an inventory of what I already own. And then, kind of like lay out some longer term plans with things, if that makes any sense. So I'm starting with my blushes today, which is, I don't think that out of control. I mean, I own more blush than any one girl needs, but it's not like my eyeshadow palette or highlighter collection, both of which got a little crazy this year. But yeah, so I'm going to start with blushes, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. If you do and you want to see the rest of my collection as videos like this, give this one a thumbs up so I know that you like this kind of content. I am thinking about doing like highlighters next, and then bronzers and eyeshadow palettes, but I might mix that around. We'll kind of see how we get to it. But yeah, so I am just gonna kind of go through all the different blushes in my collection, talk a little bit about what I like about them, what I don't like about them. We're gonna do some swatches. We'll talk about kind of what my plan for these are. Some of these are already included in project pans that I have going on, and I'll mention that and link to those videos. Anyway, this was kind of a rambly introduction, but yeah, let's get to it. Let's look at my blushes. So we'll go on ahead and start with the two that are part of my project pan, and they are the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Parte. This was the Sephora gift for 2017, and it is part of my seasonal project pan 9 by Mardi Gras, which I'll have linked up in below. So most of y'all probably own this or have seen it. It is this really pretty, this soft pink. I'm really bad at describing colors, so yeah, sorry. It's that's why we're swatching, right? So that's that there. I do like this quite a bit. This is a shade that is totally right up my alley, so very excited to be panning that this year. The next one is pretty similar, but it's a little bit lighter, and it is this right here, the second swatch. This was a blush and highlight duo that came out in Lancome's holiday kit in 2016. It doesn't really have a name. I get Sheer Amours, Mauve Mystery. I don't know. I don't speak French. But yeah, so I don't like the highlighter in here, so we kind of ignore that. But the blush I am working on panning as part of my year-long 2018 project pan that I'll have linked above and below. So both of these I like quite a bit. Both of these will, however, hopefully be gone by the end of the year. Really only two other singles, and everything else is in either a blush palette or in sort of a larger sort of eyeshadow blush combined palette. And the two that I have that are singles are both from Too Faced. They are some of their Love Flush blushes. This first one here is in the shade Funfetti. Looks like this on the inside. This came out around Valentine's Day 2016, and it was one of those that like I got oddly obsessed with like the design on it, because you can't really see it much anymore because I've used it, but it had this like whole like little confetti effect to it, and I don't know, I thought it was cute for some reason. And we'll swatch this. This is sort of like a peachy pink. Again, it's really pretty. It's one that is a little bit brighter than I would typically go for, but I do like this in the spring and early summer. And then the other one that I have is in the shade I Will Always Love You, and this is much more peach even than that one, but it is a very light, soft peach. I don't get a whole lot of use out of this one. Again, it's sort of a seasonal blush for me. Spring and summer is about the only time I'm going to use this, but it is nice because it is the only peach blush that I have in my collection. The one blush palette that I have is the LA Lights from Smashbox and Pacific Coast Pink. So this is what it looks like on the inside. This is a highlight shade, which I don't think the highlight is very good, but I do like the blushes. Let's see. So this one is, I'll just go ahead and swatch both of them. So the top one here is the shade Rich Pink, and then the middle one is True Pink. Yeah, these are really quite a bit brighter than I actually like. I do want to keep this for a while and play around with it a little bit more, but I would not be surprised if this is one that doesn't get decluttered from my collection. If not this year, then the next. And then the other blushes I have, like I said, are in sort of combined eyeshadow and blush palettes, which I feel like I use these a lot less because of that. I typically will only reach for them when I'm using that palette. So that is something that I do want to work on this year, and I may try to throw some of these into seasonal project pans depending on how quickly I'm able to go through, you know, these two that are already in my pans. So the first one up is this Glitz and Glamour Shadow Clutch from Butter London. This was part of their holiday 2016, so I've had this for about a year now, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So you have the 4 eyeshadows and then this blush over here. I'm gonna be honest, I've barely used this. This was one that I got sort of at the end of winter season last year and just didn't get a whole lot of use out of it. And then kind of have meant to use it this winter, but haven't yet. So I am definitely going to use this as a palette of the week sometime in January and try to get some use out of this. I may end up decluttering this. I think the shadows are a little bit powdery and don't perform very well. I don't know if that's just because this was part of their holiday collection last year, or if that is Butter London shadows in general. These are the only Butter London shadows and blush, you know, powder products that I own. So I don't, you know, I kind of don't know if the performance issue is limited edition holiday related, which can often be the case with brands, or if that's just in general their shadows. So I mean, if any of y'all have used their shadow clutches before and, you know, like them or don't like them, you know, whatever, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm interested in your thoughts on those. But that's the way the blush there looks. There's not names on these, so I don't have a name for it, but it's okay. I mean, it's not necessarily a color I would gravitate towards outside of this palette, but yeah, it is what it is. Next, I have this Tarte. This was the Energy Noir. That was, I mean like all of their kits like this are limited edition. This one was around 2016, maybe even 2015 a little bit. It looks like this on the inside. It was a very purple and gray palette. The blush is really pretty. It's this very, very soft pink that I like quite a bit, but it's also got just enough sort of brown to it that I really, really like. I kind of like that more brown, you know, brownish pink blush shades quite a bit. And this is definitely one that I want to challenge myself to use more than I currently do. Like I said, you know, my blushes that are in sort of these eyeshadow palettes tend to get overlooked when I'm not using the shadows. So I want to make sure that this is one that gets more love this year. This next one makes me so sad. This is the Stila Perfect Me Perfect Hue palette in the shade light/medium. This was like my go-to travel palette for all of 2016 and part of 2015 when I got it. I absolutely love the shadows in here, and I loved, notice the past tense usage there, one of the blushes that was in here. This came with 5 eyeshadows and then the 2 blushes, but I dropped mine recently on my wood floor, and the blush shade Angelic, which was my absolute favorite blush that I owned, shattered entirely, and it just, oh, it made me so sad. So that is gone. Luckily, I do have a shade in the other palette that I have left, the Smashbox Masterclass Lighting Theory palette, that is very similar. And I do think the Tarte one is similar as well. It was, again, sort of a brownish pink. So yeah, I can make do for a while. But yeah, it made me very sad. The other blush over here is in the shade Charming, and it is just a very, very pink blush. I do use it from time to time, but it's a little pinker than I would usually go for. But finally, I do have this Smashbox Masterclass Lighting Theory palette. This is half of the palette. This particular year's palette had half powder products and then half cream products. So the cream products you'll see in a different part of my collection video. So the 3 blush shades are down here. They are in the shade Candlelight, Carnation, and Spectrum. Spectrum is the one that is a lot like the what was it, Angelic shade that I tragically lost out of my Stila palette. So let's go ahead and swatch those. I've run out of room. So here are those 3. That's the Carnation right there, or sorry, Spectrum right there. Carnation is in the middle, and then we have Candlelight down at the bottom. So Spectrum is definitely my favorite out of those 3, followed by Candlelight, and then Carnation again. It's just a little too pink for me, although when you kind of shear it out on your cheeks, it does lighten up quite a bit. So that's actually it. Those are the blushes in my collection. I feel like my blush collection is fairly manageable. It's more blush than any one person needs, obviously, but it's not as out of control as some other areas in my makeup collection got this year. Sort of generally what I have decided that I want to do with my blushes, I have decided that I like having some shade variety, but I don't like having a bunch of individual blushes or blushes spread out in different kinds of palettes. So what I really want to do is find a good blush palette that I like the formula of the blushes themselves, and I like the shade selection. And that is sort of my long-term goal, is to kind of pan through some of these, in 2018 and, maybe even a little bit into 2019. But if I could, kind of pan through several of these, especially the ones that are the singles, and then, sort of get a nice, good, solid blush palette that, would last me for a couple years. That's kind of my goal here. I want something that's gonna be small and compact that I can travel with, because I do like to travel a lot and I like having makeup options when I travel. But that is where my blush collection stands here at the end of 2017 going into 2018, and sort of my goals for the next year or two, long-term, kind of what I want to use up, what I might declutter, kind of my goals for my blushes, as we already talked about. And yeah, so that's that. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to see more of these collection / planning type videos, give this one a thumbs up, or if you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button down below so that I know y'all want to see more of these. If there is a particular category that you want to see next, let me know in the comments down below. I haven't, you know, I don't have like a set schedule on what, you know, sort of order I'm going to film these in, but I'm definitely, or would like to do one for bronzers, highlighters, eyeshadow palettes, you know, sort of probably do like face products generally. So do my foundations, concealers, powder, primer, you know, all of that in one video, and then all my lip products in one video, and then maybe a video for like other eye products that aren't palettes. So the handful of singles that I own, mascara, eye primer, you know, lip, or not lip liner, eyeliner, you know, things like that, kind of all in one video. So that's kind of what I'm tentatively thinking. But like I said, if, you know, if you're dying to see eyeshadow palettes or lipsticks or, you know, whatever first or next, because this one was first, obviously. But yeah, if there's something, you know, some part of my collection that you really want to see, let me know in the comments down below, and I will, you know, work on getting that video out faster. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your December 26th. If you are in the UK or other Commonwealth nations, happy Boxing Day to you. And yeah, I will talk to y'all later.